Grimgar. Fantasy and Ash might just be the greatest isekai ever made. Yeah, I said it. I know that's a massive claim, especially in a genre overflowing with carbon copy protagonists, familiar RPG towns, and recycled power fantasies, but Grimgar isn't like the rest. It's slow, it's emotional, it's real. And in a sea of generic isekai anime, Grimgar stands out because it dares to be something different. So if you're tired of overpowered main characters steamrolling through fantasy worlds with cheat skills and harems, then stick around, because Grimgar is the isekai that flips the entire genre on its head. Let's be honest, the isekai genre, it's exhausted. Ask most anime fans what the most overdone type of anime is, and the answer is almost always the same: isekai. It's not hard to see why. You've got your standard formula: normal guy dies, wakes up in a fantasy world, gains cheat powers, builds a harem, saves the world. Rinse and repeat. The town layouts are the same. The enemies are the same. Even the protagonists look like they were copy-pasted from the same character sheet. And look, I'm not above it. I watch this stuff. I've binged it all. From the guy with the overpowered smartphone to vampire lawless to vending machine reincarnations. But after a while, they all blur together. The novelty fades and you're just left chasing the next temporary fix. That's the curse of isekai. You go in hoping for something different, but you get more of the same. Now, to be fair, there are some great shows in the genre. Mushoku Tensei, Reincarnated as a Slime, Overlord, these are solid titles. They've got gorgeous animation, cool world building, and a ton of hype. But even with all their strengths, they rarely break free from the mold. Mushoku Tensei is often called the father of modern isekai, but it still follows the template. Slime is fun, but it plays everything safe. And Overlord? Great concept. But come on, the CGI's rough. They're entertaining, sure, but they don't challenge the genre. They don't make you feel anything deeper than surface-level hype. They're power fantasies dressed in prettier packaging. And then comes Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash. Yeah, a show that doesn't shout to be noticed, but whispers, and somehow that whisper carries further than a scream. The premise is deceptively simple. A group of strangers wake up in a fantasy world with no memory of who they are, where they came from, or why they're there. No summoning ritual, no reincarnation scene, just awakening. And instantly that subtle difference sets the tone. They know only their names. That's it. No history, no identity, no goals. Just blank slates in a world that feels familiar and alien all at once. And unlike other isekai, the show doesn't rush to explain what's going on. There's no narrator feeding exposition. You, the viewer, are just as lost as the characters. And that's the genius of it. You're not watching someone conquer a world. You're watching people figure out how to live. There are no cheat skills, no magical overhauls, no "you're the chosen one" speeches. These characters have to learn how to fight, how to survive, how to exist. And every step forward is earned, not gifted. The first time they fight a goblin, it's not glorious, it's terrifying, it's clumsy, it's messy. The enemy screams, it fights back, it begs for its life. The battle drags on longer than it should, and when it's over, the characters are shaken, not proud. That's Grimgar in a nutshell. A brutal, beautiful, emotional grind through the unknown. It doesn't feel like fiction. It feels like real people trapped in a dream they can't wake up from. One of the most striking things about Grimgar is how grounded it feels. Despite being set in a fantasy world, in most isekai the protagonist is instantly capable. They figure things out immediately, they get cool gear, level up fast, and just know how to win. But that's not how people actually work. In Grimgar, every step forward is painful. Every victory is hard-earned. Every mistake has real, devastating consequences. And because the characters start from nothing, no memory, no knowledge, they act the way real people would if dropped into an alien world. They panic. They doubt themselves. They make bad calls, and sometimes they fail. That sense of fragility is what makes Grimgar so compelling. You don't feel like you're watching a story. You feel like you're living it with them. Another thing that sets Grimgar apart is that it isn't about one guy saving the world. It's about a group. Flawed, broken, awkward, and how they grow together. Each character brings their own baggage. Our hero, the reluctant leader, constantly questions himself. He doesn't have all the answers, and his leadership is messy, hesitant, human. Then there's Ranta, brash, selfish, loud. He causes problems, but beneath all that noise, he's lonely, misunderstood, trying to prove himself in the worst ways possible. Mogzo is the gentle giant. Always smiling, always cooking. Yume is clumsy and cheerful, but uncertain. Shihoru is shy and withdrawn, hiding her strength. And Manatoa, well, if you've seen the show, you know what happens there. The point is, these aren't just roles on a party list. They're characters you come to know, care about, and root for, because they feel real. Even the monsters aren't just monsters. In Grimgar, killing isn't treated like farming XP, it's survival. The goblins they fight scream, they beg, they run, they bleed. They're not just AI mobs, they're living beings, and the characters have to reckon with that. Every battle is dangerous. One mistake could mean death. Not metaphorical death, actual death. And when it happens, it hurts. You feel the weight of every kill, you see the characters break down, you see them mourn, you see them hesitate to fight again. And that emotional realism makes every victory feel earned and every loss feel personal. Now let's talk about the visuals, because Grimgar isn't just emotional, it's stunning. The first thing you'll notice are the backgrounds. They're not just drawn, they're painted. Soft watercolor textures, dreamlike hues, brush strokes that bleed slightly at the edges, like you're walking through a living canvas. Forests feel mystical, town markets feel warm, and battlefields carry an eerie weight. But it's not just about how pretty it looks. These visuals do something deeper. They reflect the mood. When the characters feel lost, the world looks hazy, uncertain. When hope shines through, colors bloom. It's a subtle emotional mirror, and most anime don't even attempt that level of visual storytelling. The animation during combat is equally impressive. No two characters move the same. Our hero being cautious and unsure fights with hesitation. Every swing of his dagger seems calculated, desperate. Ranta, on the other hand, is wild and unrefined, flailing with energy and ego. Shihoru casts her spells with nervous focus, like she's constantly second-guessing herself. These nuances in body language and movement bring each scene to life. It's not just fighting, it's characterization through action. Sure, the show has moments where the budget slips a bit, some still shots, some reused animations, but when it hits, it really hits. It's immersive, atmospheric, and unforgettable. Oh, and yeah, the booty too. Alright, let's talk about that part. If you were around when Grimgar aired, you already know. This anime stirred up conversation not just for its deep themes or gorgeous art, but for its attention to the lower half of the character designs. Most anime, especially in fan service-heavy genres, tend to focus on the upper assets. Grimgar flipped that script. The camera was generous with its angles, and let's just say the animators weren't shy about showing off the posterior physics. But here's the weird part. It never really felt gross or out of place. It wasn't shoved in your face every 5 seconds with comedic sound effects or nosebleeds. It was just there, casual, consistent, and strangely tasteful. You could argue it's unnecessary, and maybe it is, but somehow it blended into the world in a way that didn't break immersion. The show didn't stop to wink at the audience or make a joke. It was just part of how the characters were drawn, like the scenery or lighting. Realistic bodies in a grounded world. So yeah, the booty, iconic, memorable, weirdly artistic, and definitely a part of why people still talk about Grimgar today. So why does this show really matter? Why does it stick with you? Because Grimgar isn't just telling a story. It's telling the truth about what it means to be lost, afraid, and unsure of yourself. Every other isekai gives you power. Grimgar gives you vulnerability. It shows you what happens when regular people, not destined heroes, are forced into impossible situations. People with fear, with trauma, with messy emotions and baggage they don't even remember. The relationships in this show don't develop through cheesy romance arcs or dramatic speeches. They form naturally, through shared experiences, loss, trust, conflict, and small acts of kindness. Through sleeping around the same campfire, cooking meals, arguing over loot, and breaking down after a battle. And when someone dies, the world doesn't pause. The pain doesn't go away after one episode. The grief lingers. The group feels it. You feel it. The characters change. Grimgar isn't about becoming stronger to beat the final boss. It's about becoming stronger just to keep going, just to live another day. In a genre obsessed with escape, Grimgar chooses to confront the hard truths we try to ignore. That survival is hard, that growth is painful, that healing isn't clean or easy or instant, and that's what makes it special. Grimgar. Fantasy and Ash didn't come to redefine the isekai genre with flashy gimmicks or endless hype. It came to tell a story, one grounded in emotion, honesty, and humanity. It may not be as famous as Sword Art Online or as meme-worthy as Slime or as flashy as ReZero, but what it offers is something rare: sincerity. It reminds us that not every journey is epic. Some journeys are quiet, messy, heartbreaking, and worth taking anyway. So if you've been sleeping on this series, if you think you've already seen everything isekai has to offer, Grimgar will prove you wrong. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about saving the world. They're about surviving it